Alright guys, welcome to Edutainment for a political reaction towards what has been happening around the globe. Of course, so many things are happening with the ODM and needing an emergency NDC, but it's already split, and some people have made their mind, and with the president focused towards two-term. So just when people thought that maybe ODM should sit together and have an agreement, the ODM split came out in Busia yesterday to indicate that they are not going to stop at anything. And of course, Busia people, the delegates, had stopped them, but they still went ahead and reported in Busia. And now what they said there was quite surprising. From the different ends, Babu, SIFUNA, and many others spoke. We are going just to pick some highlights from different people. One of the shocking aspects was when SIFUNA vowed that he is ready to die. And if people understand exactly where his grave can be buried, then let it be. KC says, try something different. Please suggest what it is so that I may understand what to do. All right. Yeah, so in Busia, this is what happened.
Kwa hivyo wale wanasema wataua SIFUNA, watu wa Busia waambieni mko tayari, mnajua mpaka nyumbani, si ndio? So that's what I call
okay. So SIFUNA actually came out to indicate that he is ready to die for this current target, or rather the focus that he has. And he said he's not afraid to be buried wherever they'll do. If it's death, he's not the first and the last. And if he dies, then people know where to bury him. So if somebody dares you ask that, what does it mean? Are they having a force behind it? You know, some people, according to some people, I don't know whether it's propagandists, they have indicated that SIFUNA is working for the government. But then, if you look at the statements he's giving, they're just overtly excessive, because how would he go back and retrieve his statements if he goes back to the same government and works with them? You know, there are statements you can say and you can actually retrieve, but when you listen to what SIFUNA said here, they are just extreme statements that you cannot go back to. Now let's listen to Babu too. Babu spoke at some point in this meeting, and this is what he had to say.
Sisi sio waoga, sisi sio watoto, sisi sio washenzi, sisi tutadili na nyinyi. Hata leo hii kiamua mtufukuze, tuko tayari kurudi by election, lakini ndenye baba aliwachia chama, lazima tuendeleze wapi? Asanteni sana.
Sasa utakuwa nakumbuka. Alright guys, so that is Babu for you. KC is telling me go through the charges, aka Malcolm, you'll find content. Oh, charges or Malcolm. I'll for sure. Malcolm or charges. Let me see what that is. It's a good suggestion, because actually I've been asking some of the people who watch me to help me find out what more to do. But I believe Malcolm is more on football and such things, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't know. Malcolm is so much on football. I can't talk about what I don't actually fancy. I don't know. But Chargers, aka Malcolm. That content is more of football, if I am not wrong. That's what I just think. I don't know, but I'll be checking on that to see what is there. And also, when you focus so much on American stuff, most of them have blockages in terms of copyright, so you can't use their stuff so easily. Just like you can't use a lot of Jamaican stuff without having strikes on your content. Actually, most people are trying to move away from content in Africa, but you find hitches around copyright, because most of the people from America or such, they kind of block their content. But I'll be checking. I'm not ready given up, but I'll be checking to see what more can be there, because when I look at Malcolm and whatever, I tend to see much of football there. And how would I talk about football if I'm not a fan? And it's not even a topic that I'm very much informed about. At least politics, you can watch a lot of political stuff, and because you understand the environment around what's happening, you can easily talk about it. But it is what it is. Sometimes we have just to try. Anyway, as I was saying, Babu spoke and you heard what he said. Sifuna also spoke, and then Orengo came up and said this.
Chama cha Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, hakuna mtu atauza chama cha ODM. Hakuna mtu atauza chama cha ODM. Na hakuna mtu anaweza kuthubutu kumeza chama cha ODM. Na tunasema ya kwamba chochote ambayo chama cha ODM itafanya itatoka hapa kwa wananchi.
Okay. So that group basically went to Busia to indicate that they are going to Linda Wananchi, because the other group has a different program, or rather focus, but this specific group has said they are going to protect the citizens. Okay. And how are they going to do that? We just have to watch and see what they are going to do, because according to Edwin Sifuna, what citizens want is not what the government is offering. And I don't know why they are not believing in the opposition as well, to unite with them maybe, so that they work together. So Sifuna has ventured into a war alongside his group, including Winnie Odinga. We have seen Orengo, we've seen Onyonka, and so many others who are around that place. So given that delegates from Busia had earlier on rejected this move, but it still happened, it speaks volumes. Maybe people are just happy about this. I don't know.
Edwin Sifuna, the charismatic, eloquent, and unyielding ODM Secretary General, on Sunday crushed President William Ruto and the ODM cabal, causing up to him in a high-octane Linda Mwananchi rally in Busia, with thousands flooding Busia Stadium and streets in an organic and unstoppable show of grassroots power, chanting WANTAM and bringing down the town to a standstill. Sifuna delivered a principled fiery takedown of government excesses, high taxes, police brutality, and economic pain gripping the Mwananchi. He boldly rejected any betrayal through UDA alliances or internal party sellouts, reaffirming ODM's core values as planted by Raila Odinga: confront power, defend the people, speak truth without fear. Hakutatishwa na mtu yoyote. Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga hakulea watu waoga. Alikuwa anatuambia kila siku, Sifuna, chunga maslahi ya mwananchi, kwa sababu hiyo ndio kazi yetu. Standing firm alongside allies like James Orengo, Babu Owino,
Godfrey Otsotsi and Caleb Amisi, among others, Sifuna exposed the supposed cabal alignments as a direct assault on the party's soul, vowing no compromise, no absorption into Ruto's orbit, and a fierce return to authentic opposition ahead of 2027.
Na wengine wanatuambia tuandike mkataba ingine na UDA. Kama hawezi heshimu mkataba ambaye baba Raila Amolo Odinga mwenyewe amesaini, mnafikiri ataheshimu ile uhuru amesaini? Ataheshimu ile uhuru amesaini?
The rally wasn't hype, it was raw, people-driven energy, proving real leadership still resonates when it's rooted in principle over power deals. That rally was not tolerated, it was survived. And survival is the first sign that something has gone very wrong for those in power. Talk Ruto, talk Oburu.
Sasa nimesikia ati wanataka kuanzisha Azimio. Ile Azimio tulinyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Sasa niwaulize, Azimio bila ODM ni sinikuzimia? Azimio bila ODM sinikuzimia?
Before Busia happened, the message was simple. This rally will not happen. Not quietly, not politely. Warnings circulated. Doubts were planted. Pressure was implied. Yet Busia happened anyway. And when authority fails to prevent political act, it loses something far more important than control. It loses aura. Because Kenyan power relies heavily on intimidation that never needs to be proven.
All right, guys. So, of course, as I had said earlier, the Busia rally was earlier indicated not to happen because the specific sympathizers or empathizers in ODM had already announced that there is no one who will go to Busia for a rally, and if they want to do it, they would rather do them in their counties. They were pushing Sifuna to go to Nairobi and Orengo to Busia, among others, Babu and his lot. Now, it has not been common to see Babu and Sifuna together in such rallies. We have always been seeing one of them appearing without the other. But now that they have come together and united, including Winnie, that speaks volumes. Now let's get to see what is happening, because now, as people try to rally Azimio and pick new leaders, Ruto is not just agreeing with this. He is now pushing for the fall of Azimio, indicating it is rather something to do with fainting. That it's rather fainting to allow this to happen. Now let's check in this.
Bila ODM ni sinikuzimia. Azimio bila ODM sinikuzimia. Asubuhi na mapema. Bana. Sasa nimesikia ati wanataka kuanzisha Azimio. Ile Azimio tulinyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Sasa niwaulize, Azimio bila ODM ni sinikuzimia?
All right, now the day the reshuffles happened in Azimio and Kalonzo took over as the chair, what happened is that we saw clearly that Ruto began to say he's among the first people who brought around Azimio, and therefore Uhuru cannot come and decide for Kalonzo or any other Kenyan. And out of that, he said that if Azimio doesn't have ODM, then that is the end of it. Now, do you think Ruto is actually campaigning for ODM? He's not. He's merely playing games so as to ensure that ODM is remaining on the inch. What he understands very well is that if United Opposition comes together with ODM, then he's done. But if he plays games and manages to have ODM standing on one side and United Opposition on the other, then he can easily have his way in between. Now, this is one of the things that United Opposition and ODM is not very careful about. That split is speaking volumes already, with some people thinking that Sifuna is out to make sure that United Opposition is a weaker party. And that also creates a lot of suspicion and propaganda that will easily have its way to the citizens. So the message that Sifuna passed was quite chilling. And also we saw Senator Otiende trying to speak the same while indicating to the senators that they have been saying, governors have been saying that he has been mistreating them during the moments of auditing. And he was warning them, if they do not want him, he's going to let Sifuna take over. Now, such a message sends again another signal over Sifuna. Is Sifuna going to proceed with this, or is he going to win? This is a question we should ask ourselves as we let the winds come and go. But then there is a security war going on as well, with Noah Mayo roughing up the GSC office. Let's look at this.
Ndio Kenya iweze kwenda mbele. We cannot transform Kenya.
From a distance, this looks like a routine presidential appearance. A church service, a waiting crowd, a familiar speech.
Na ndio sababu hiyo nimesema nikiwa hapa Nairobi, Waswahili wanasema ahadi ni nini? Si ahadi ni deni.
But just a few meters from the president, a quiet confrontation is unfolding. Orders are being challenged, tempers are rising, and the men tasked with protecting the head of state are not on the same page.
Sasa munisikize watu wa Nairobi. Nimeketi chini na county government. Nimeketi chini na MCS.
On Sunday, February 8th, at AIC Pipeline in Embakasi, the cameras captured what they always do when President RUTO steps out in public. The familiar pose through the sunroof, the sharp words for political rivals.
Niwaulize watu wa Nairobi.
Triza,
Mnachagua viongozi.
enda uoge, mimi nataka kwenda kupanga kuni.
Kwa sababu amefanya kazi ama kwa sababu ya sura? Ni kazi ama sura? Ni kazi ama sura?
The chants for supporters, the image of a leader firmly in control.
Tusafishe mji wa Nairobi. Na mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa Nairobi, hiyo kazi inaanza tarehe 1 mwezi wa 4, tutaanza kuondoa takataka katika mji wa Nairobi.
But the real tension was unfolding at ground level. Away from the microphones and slogans and the cameras, layers of security protocols were colliding in full view. Orders overlapped and authorities was contested.
Kuna ndoo mbili, kuna ndoo ingine kwa bafu.
Nimeketi chini na county government. Nimeketi chini na
unatoa nguo weke kwa basin ama uogee kwa basin, whichever.
The Assistant Inspector General in charge of the Presidential Escort Unit. In a fascinating piece of footage from the scene, Mayo is seen managing more than just external threats. He is managing the flavor of the crowd.
Niwaulize watu wa Nairobi, wakati mnachagua viongozi, mnachagua kwa sababu amefanya kazi ama kwa sababu ya sura?
You see, the Presidential Escort Unit strategy often involves decoys, men dressed in civilian clothes who blend into the masses. Their job is twofold. Number one, to act as a human shield, or rather sensors. And number two, to help shape crowd energy near the president. Without looking, they are doing exactly that. In this video, a decoy in a white shirt is brought close by Mayo. He lifts his hands in support, perfectly timed and perfectly blessed. Then a man in a suit, believed to be part of the security detail in the area, steps in and drags that decoy away from sight. You can almost smell the anger from Mayo's face. He swiftly warns the suited man to stop interfering in his plan. Mayo then signals two other men, casually dressed but both wearing caps. Another pair meant to melt into the crowd near the president and amplify the chants. They move in. However, a uniformed GSU officer blocks them and prevents them from advancing towards the president. Mayo is angered again. This time, he doesn't negotiate. He pushes the GSU officer aside, clearing the way for his decoys to proceed.
Niwaulize watu wa Nairobi, wakati mnachagua viongozi, mnachagua kwa sababu amefanya kazi ama kwa sababu ya sura? Ni kazi ama sura? Ni kazi ama sura? Ni kazi ama kabila ya mtu? Ni kazi ama...
All right, so that was what happened in this meeting at Pipeline, of course, with Mayo's drama with the JC officers. Away from that, of course, we saw Gachagua in these moments.
Work today is broken. Every day, people juggle so many different tools just to get work.
Na bwana yako. Hii Nakuru hapana private property yenu. Na nyinyi hamuna title deed ya Nakuru. Hapana tisha Rigathi Gachagua. Ati hawezi kuja Nakuru. Nakuru si ya mama yako. Nakuru si yako. Nakuru ni ya Wakenya wote watu ya Nakuru. Harambee! Mimi nataka watu ya Nakuru tukubaliane. Huyu Susan Kihika akuwe one. Huyu Susan Kihika akuwe nini? Susan Kihika atakuwa? Wangapi wanasema Susan Kihika ni one term. Uende Sugoi ukakae huko na nikikataa Wakikuyu unasema mimi ni mkabila. Kwani wewe ni kabila gani? Hii Wakikuyu unataka watetewe na nani? Wewe watu wetu wakiumizwa, kazi yako ni kupigia Ruto makofi. Ochono mkunyana ni warore neguo. Ochono mkunyana ni wake. Na gotine modo mkunyana rore.
All right, guys. So that is that far we can discuss. And of course, more will be coming in as we wait by. Thank you so much, KC. I'll be checking on Charger Malcolm. Bye-bye.